Peveshef Moket Nehesheve Natissa. My name is Cinnamon Spear and I'm Northern Cheyenne from Lame Deer, Montana. I found out about the MELS program actually through Kate Burke, who was a mentor of mine when I was at Dartmouth during undergraduate. So after I graduated from Dartmouth, I attended a post-bac pre-medical program at Montana State University. And there was one class period where I remember specifically walking out of chemistry and just realizing this is not for me. I recognized that I had a voice and I wanted to use it. So the first thing I did was call Kate Burke after I decided within myself that I wanted to withdraw from the medical program. And she said to me, "You keep referencing this voice and you're talking about your voice. Have you ever thought of the MELS program at Dartmouth? They have a creative writing track. And I think if you entered the program and came back home to Dartmouth, you would really be able to really develop the voice that you're talking about." My favorite part of MELS, I think, had to be the flexibility with the class schedule and being able to take classes from the cross section, being that it was liberal studies, being able to learn about conflicts that are happening on the other side of the world, simultaneous to studying poetry and learning how to develop my voice. I think the liberal studies aspect of it was intriguing to me and kept me challenged. At the same time, having a track of my studies that was very focused. Immediately after I graduated from MELS, I entered federal service with the Indian Health Service. The Indian Health Service is a federal healthcare agency that delivers healthcare to American Indians and Alaska Natives across the country. And when I was a little girl, I thought I always wanted to grow up and be a nurse or a doctor and work for the Indian Health Service. But as soon as I graduated from MELS, there was actually a public affairs position that was calling for an individual to apply for the position who had a strong oral and written background, strong oral and strong oral skills and strong writing skills, and it also asked for somebody to apply to the position who might have had filmmaking skills. And so I actually used my creative writing master's thesis and produced a documentary film. So at the time, my resume was perfect for the Indian Health Service public affairs position. So from MELS, I went straight to Washington, D.C. to work for the top of a federal agency's public affairs department. I have been employed with the Indian Health Service for going on 5 years. I still work for them. What I realized after 4 years of working with the Indian Health Service, though, is that during the MELS program, I had been turned on to fiction, oral history, nonfiction, and poetry. And what I realized is having exposure to those different styles of writing was great because it let me figure out what I wanted to do. And I had learned after 4 years of federal service that I was really in love with fiction. And it allowed me to center more focused on fiction specifically. So then I applied to the Iowa Writers Workshop and was admitted last fall and will be graduating this May with my Master's of Fine Arts specifically in fiction. And it was thanks to MELS that helped me discover that fiction was really the genre of writing that I wanted to focus on. Actually, I think my biggest takeaway from MELS was the relationships that I built with classmates during MELS. So there are specifically two, maybe three friends of mine that I'm still very close with that have continued to support me to this day. And these are friends that were other people of color who were in the program that to this day will text me. We support one another with the ongoing political debates, the things that are hitting national news. These are people who are both educated and come from backgrounds of color, and we have continued to support each other on through life since then. So I'm very fortunate. I think my biggest takeaway from MELS was the relationships that I built with my colleagues during the program. I guess I just want to share that when I was in the MELS program, I wanted to do an oral history as an independent study. And I guess I just want to share that I received pushback from the curriculum committee on my project. And instead of just taking that letter that was written to me that said, "No, you can't do this thing," I pushed back and I wrote a letter back to the curriculum committee and back to the executive director, and I just shared, this is exactly why I want to do it and all the reasons that it's important. And after I did push back, the letter was received and my independent study was approved, and I was able to conduct the oral history that I wanted to. And so that is just an experience with the MELS program that I think was just a little bit of a hurdle, but I think it serves as a good example for current students that if there is something that you want to do and you have a passion for something and it's maybe outside of the norm, that it's okay to just advocate for yourself and push back against the committee or the directors and just really speak up for what you want. And the MELS program is actually really flexible and will let you do pretty much anything that you desire to do as long as you articulate its meaning to you and its importance to academia.